Hi there. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video, I wanted to talk about problem solving. Now, before we talk about problems, we have to try and understand what problems are. In my mind, a problem is like a mountain that is tough to climb. When you think about mountains, there are mountains that are very easy to summit. Then there are also mountains that are very extremely tough to summit. If you take, for example, the tallest peak in the world, which is also one of the toughest peaks to summit, is Mount Everest. But as we all know, Mount Everest has been conquered by hundreds and hundreds of human beings. So, if human beings are able to solve the problem of Mount Everest, I fundamentally believe that we can solve any problem we encounter in life. Think about problems that we generally come across. Wherever you are, whichever country you belong to, whichever race, whichever gender you belong to, problems are very common to all of us. And not only to humans, problems are a common factor to entities. Even if you're a family, even if you're a country, even if you're a team, even if you're an organization, problems are always going to be there. Let's think about some examples of problems. When you take a country will have the problem of politics. When you take an organization can have the problem of teamwork, operations, marketing, business, management to solve. If you take a family, families can have problems. If you take a student can have the problem of facing an exam, passing the exam, the problem of memory, the problem of discipline itself. And in general, day-to-day society, we encounter so many problems. The problem of inequality, the problem of racism, the problem of bullying, the problem of misunderstanding, the problem of lack of recognition, the problem of debt, the problem of wealth, happiness, well-being, health. All of these seem to be problems to one human or the other. Now, in such a condition, it is an absolute necessity that we solve these problems, because if we do not solve these problems, we cannot move forward in an optimal manner that is good for us and for everybody around us. Now, when you think about these examples of so many problems that human beings encounter, it feels like problems are inevitable. And if problems are inevitable, it is almost our duty, it is almost our responsibility to face these problems and solve them. So, how do we solve problems? If we were magicians, we could snap our finger and problems would disappear. But that is not the case. Life doesn't work like that. In life, we need to tackle problems very smartly, which is why we have a brain. Now, in using the brain to solve a problem, I approach problem solving in two steps. The first step is we have to understand the nature of the problem. To understand the nature of the problem, I recommend you step back. You take a step back, or you take a step out of that boundary of being the one who is facing the problem and look at your problem independently, objectively. This is very important and it has helped me so much, because when we are facing a problem, when the problem is directly affecting us, it can affect our emotions, it can affect the way we think, and therefore we might make decisions that are too hasty and that are not in the best interest of all the parties involved, including ourselves. Which is why it's a very smart thing to take a breather, take a moment, step out of that problem and look at the problem independently and objectively. I'll give you one good advice. When we face problems, there is a common saying, go to someone who knows and who has encountered life more than you. Why we do this? Talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, talk to mentors, talk to people who are more experienced than you. Why we do this is because in their life, they would have gone through problems that are similar in nature, and therefore they might have very valuable advice that they could share with you. That is the first part of solving a problem. The second part You have to take action. And taking action means taking initiative. And taking initiative simply means doing something. I was watching this Will Smith motivational video, and he was saying 99% of people do not do what it takes to solve the problems they have. This is why we have poverty. This is why we have hunger. This is why we have child labor in the world. It's because people who can do things, who can take action to solve problems are not doing their best. I can share a couple of examples with you. The first example is during my college days, when I was studying at Kingswood College, Kandy, there was a marginalized group of students that I also belonged to. We didn't have the right infrastructure, we didn't have the right teacher, we didn't have the right guidance to study that particular subject. And basically, it was affecting a large group, minority, but a large group of students within the college. Now, as I grew up in school, I started to realize the nature of this problem, because as time passed by and I was detached from the problem, I saw it from an independent senior student's perspective. And when I saw that, I realized that every junior who was me a few years ago was facing the same problem. And then what I did was I took initiative, and with the patronage and the guidance of Mr. Ranjit Chandrasekhara, our then principal sir, we were able to do something about this problem, set up the infrastructure, get the classroom, get a teacher to teach that particular subject. And this has paved the way for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of students who are going to be in the school in the future to study that particular subject in an effective manner. I'll give you another example from my corporate life. In 2017, when I started working for the central sales planning team of Sri Lanka's largest telecommunication operation, when I went into the team, we had the problem of data, rather lack of data and business intelligence. Now, as a sales planning team, it is absolutely necessary to have the right information so that we can do the planning effectively. Because if plans are wrong, then operations are very likely to go wrong. When we had this lack of data problem, it took me about 3 days to understand the nature of this problem by working with my then manager and wonderful human being, Mr. Asitha Nikahetiya. Now with him, I discussed, and I realized that there was a problem which ranged to other stakeholders, and I tried to understand the nature of that very problem. Then I took initiative with the guidance of Asitha, and of course with the support of Ranil Pushpakumara. We were able to reach out to business intelligence and set up a master data sheet that fed in direct D-1 or almost real-time information to the sales planning team of that particular product. This was a critical move that helped us make so many intelligent decisions in time to come. These are examples where I clearly was able to understand the nature of the problem and take initiative. But one thing I must say, when it comes to problems, it's very unlikely that we can solve them on our own. You absolutely must get the help of others, guidance of others, and advice of others. There are a couple of hiccups that you must be aware of in these two components of solving problems. When it comes to understanding the nature of the problem, please realize that it is almost impossible to understand 100% of the nature of the problem. That is an absolutely impossible thing to do. Trust me, I have tried. And when it comes to taking initiative, doing something, you know the issue. It takes some courage. It takes some faith in yourself that you can do something about it. That mentality is what will drive you to take that step forward. It's a leap of faith. And on top of it, there is always some amount of risk involved. So make up your mind about taking the risk and trust yourself, have faith in yourself, and take that move. You are on your way to solving the problem that you have. And finally, the more I thought about these two components of what it takes to solve a problem, I realized that it is a beautiful cycle. Remember, it is you who takes the initiative to do something that will encounter problems. And it is you who encounters problems that will take the initiative and do something about it. And on that note, as you go along this beautiful cycle that I call life, may your journey be much more interesting, adventurous, and wonderful than your destination. AZB here, signing out. Take care.